So I was supposed to record this, but here we go. So yeah, guy comes into my stream, talks about veganism. Really cool dude. But he's a devoted vegan. Like, I've been saying this to other people, and I've been saying this to my friends. He's one of those vegans. Nah, but no, but he's super chill. So yeah, guy came into my stream. We were talking about veganism, and obviously I'll talk to anybody. So, we started talking, and I wanted to do like a follow up thing with him, just to like really do something, because I really wanted to talk with people who are into this thing. I have friends who are vegans, but yeah, like nothing of like this sort, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like, no one who's on the quote unquote extreme side of veganism. Yeah, so yeah, to start, guy came into my stream. Super cool guy, but one of those vegans. So he'll be here today. I have like a laundry list of things, and today's really just gonna be a well, I put my title as of more of a clickbait. We can argue about veganism and what's right and what's wrong all day long, but I'm that kind of person where I can just talk to anybody, and I don't care what side you're on any type of spectrum of any type of discussion. I will talk to you no matter who you are or what you believe in. I just like talking to people. Little side note, my LED lights in my room are green. I don't know why. I just associated that with being a vegan. Just the green lights. But yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff for you tonight. Hopefully, and obviously he's cool, so hopefully it's not gonna get too heated tonight. But yeah, we got a good stream he'll be here for a couple of hours, so I plan to do this, for a couple of hours as well. So, but yeah, all right. So we have. I'll name off his usernames first. He goes by morally superior vegan on Twitch. And his real name is Logan. Logan, you could actually unmute now. Let me actually switch to my live feed. There
Hey,
you go.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wonderful.
All right,
How's
so
it going?
how are you? This is technically our first time. We did a little. I let him
Yeah, I just
join, and I
checked.
talked to him a
I was
little bit.
texting.
Yeah. So this is technically our first time hearing each other's voices. Well, besides me being on stream and stuff, you came to my stream, but this is my first time hearing your voice.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
My
So
sultry caramel voice.
before we get started, why don't you introduce yourself, who you are, and I guess where your stance is on our today's topic.
Yeah. So I am that vegan, and I suppose the easiest way to define it, we could use the Vegan Society's definition. So the vegan. Gotta Google that really quick here. Vegan Society definition. I think because it's the most common one
Yeah.
that majority of vegans ascribe to, and there's some dissension among it. So I'll put it in chat here, and then I'll read it off for people who won't be able to see chat. So veganism is a philosophy and a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all animal products derived wholly or partly from animals.
All right.
So a lot of time people think veganism is like, oh, so like that's your diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in dietary, it's the last sentence of the definition of the philosophy of veganism. So it's not technically just a diet. It is
A lifestyle. It's definitely a
way
lifestyle.
of living.
Yeah, for sure. Because for someone who doesn't think about it, there are so many things that include animal products, like a lot, or like things that aren't food.
Yes.
As you say. So there's, it's a lifestyle because there's a lot of things that are made by animal products, and it's hard. I want to say it's hard because you do it, obviously. But you have to avoid those things that do include it, you know?
Yes.
Before we get started, I do have some things. I don't know. I mean, I have pop here. I don't know if that's vegan, right? Yeah. Soda.
Should be, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think so.
But I know you sent me before we, we're talking about like coming up to this day where we were going to talk. We were discussing what kind of foods to eat, and I totally forgot because I've just been working. I've just been working.
That's right. I remember you
However,
mentioned.
however, my mom, she's doing a fitness challenge, so she has a bunch of healthy foods, and I have an acai bowl here that and those are really good. And there's acai in here, not vegetables, fruits. I got some granola on the side. It's really good. It is vegan. It says on the box it's vegan, so hopefully it's true.
You got the full vegan foods for
Yeah.
snacks.
No, but like there are vegan foods that are really good. Like it's not hard because I got it. My mom got it at Sam's Club. It's like it's not hard,
I made fried rice for dinner tonight.
Yeah. Oh shit, that sounds good.
Instead of egg, I got a block of tofu, dried or cooked it up, and then added turmeric so it turns yellow.
Yeah.
And it just, like if you get egg and you split it up and stir it all together, it's yellow. So it functions the same, right?
For sure. All right, but yeah, I have those to eat during the stream, so when I get hungry, I could just do these things, and I have water obviously because I don't really like drinking other flavored things unless it's like a juice or something like that. But water is like my go-to, no matter like what diet I am. I'll always drink water.
Water's good for you,
for sure. Now, you did say like come prepared and like have a bunch of speaking terms. We're gonna get through a lot of like stuff that I have questions about. Stuff that's on your side that you have problems with, or stuff that are like, I don't know. It's like, I just don't want this to be like, because since I'm a non-vegan, I don't want to be like and argue back and forth between two different lifestyles. I want to see like your side of life and then like discuss my side of life. And we'll obviously, since you came back to when you were at my other stream 10 days ago, we did talk about a lot of cool topics that I do want to get on this stream as well. So we'll reiterate some things, and we'll talk about new things that I had like further questions about, because we did, you wanted further questions. And I think Crumbs has further questions. Crumbs is here too. He's only here because he doesn't actually speak at all. So he's here to listen because his internet sometimes is not as good, and he's my mod, so he's there for me. So, oh hi Wolfie, hi. I will be talking to chat every now and then. So if I do say so, yeah. So Wolfie, hello, welcome to the stream. We're discussing veganism. I have one of those vegans. I'm just gonna say that just to like kind of like, I don't know, nothing against you.
I'll embrace.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we're talking about one of those vegans. No, but I have
for the stereotype, I cycle.
Yeah.
And I have a cyclist jersey, so like road bike, bicycling. I got a jersey, the cycling jersey, the attire that you wear, and it just says vegan across the front of it.
So since you said you have a road bike, right?
Yeah.
So do you live in the city, or do you live like? I don't want you to dox yourself, but like, do you live in the city or do you live suburb? Okay, yeah, I do too.
Yeah, so population 15,000, so it's a smaller area.
That's still not bad.
I'll cycle. I'm going to school right now, and so it's 15 miles north of me. So I'll cycle up to school.
That's a good workout though. That's good.
Got to pump them legs, right?
Yeah, for sure. Biking is a great source of cardio. I love cardio, and like, I have a love-hate relationship with cardio because through middle school and high school I was in cross country, but I'm a shitty ass runner. Like
practice makes perfect.
Yeah, practice didn't do shit for me. I'm still the slowest. I'm still the slowest runner, no matter where I'm at. I'm no track star. All right, so I guess here I'll show you on my screen, but I have legit. I was just compiling throughout the 10 days that we haven't talked, just different points just different things. I want to like also get you to react to certain videos from both the vegan side and I guess like memes as well.
Sure.
Like we're gonna talk about that vegan teacher if that's like.
Oh heck yeah! I love her.
Yeah, for sure. But like I'm gonna talk about influences in general and like how just like just to go through some of the points I was thinking, like what vegan influencers have been doing and have they been a good representation of like you guys, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we'll get to like through the whole thing. How long? I should ask you this as well. But how? I know you said you like have a couple hours. I mean, are you Central Standard Time as well?
Yeah.
Central Standard Time. Okay,
So I could, you know what, I think I can make it to 1 a.m.
okay, yeah. I think we should
I'll
get through a ton of stuff. Like I said, this is gonna be. I have my questions, but who knows where this conversation will go? You know.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. So let's just go with a point, I guess. So your full stance of veganism, you're one of those. I guess we should call it the moral aspect vegans, where, just a straight up cruelty, right? Or anything to dealing with animals is just straight up cruelty. Like, is that your what is your stance as a vegan, or like in terms of what you think of things?
Yeah. So society, talking to different people,
Mhm.
I think I've come across 3 different definitions of
Mhm.
what people think vegan is. The
Yeah.
first one is, the health aspect. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm vegan for the diet
Yeah,
because, it's healthier because cholesterol, yada, yada, yada.
Speaking of which, I'm
Then
gonna
you
open
can
this.
have another group that says, I'm doing it for the environment
Mhm.
because, we're deforesting the Amazon for pasture land for cows or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have the moral argument where it says that animals should have rights that we currently don't ascribe to them. And I would fall under that definition in the broadest sense.
Mhm.
And presumably we'll be discussing,
For sure.
nitpicky points about that.
Yeah. Let's see. So I also wanted, and you mentioned this before, that you came from an omnivorous background, like your parents and your family. Like you didn't come from a vegan background, or at least what you said in my chat, right?
Correct. Yeah. So grew up, eating chicken nuggies and steak and drinking a gallon of milk a day and
Yeah,
all that stuff. And
for sure.
eventually came across the realization that perhaps it would be morally better to not do that.
Yeah. When did that change for you?
I guess it was a gradual change over a number of years.
Okay.
Not specifically the moral aspect, as I discussed, related. It started off as environmental.
Gotcha.
And then over the years, I just thought more and more about it, and eventually came to the conclusion of morally, why is any of this right for us to do in our current time frame? Where I'm at in life, and everybody that I know, it definitely isn't something that's necessary. So why continue to propagate what is happening?
I busted my acai bowl too, so I was getting a little hungry. These are good though. They're really good.
I had an insane amount of food before I showed up, so I'm probably not going to eat for the next couple hours. My stomach kind of hurts a little bit.
So yeah, let's talk about diet too. You said you had a shit ton of food. Like, how do you prepare? Like, you eat 3 square meals a day, or is it like? Because like as an omnivorous person, I have 3 square meals a day, but like, in my head, it's like is it harder for you to find food and you just eat throughout the day, or is it 3 square meals a day, same as us, or do you have like a workout regimen where you're like doing a 1 meal a day or something like that? Like, how does that?
It depends on how I'm feeling. So if I wanted to stick with my regimen, for breakfast I could have cereal and I'll use soy milk rather than dairy milk. I also have a smoothie that I'll make. So I'll have frozen fruit. I'll add chia seeds, soy milk, and peanut butter and or pea protein, depending on if I need protein, like more protein for whatever reason. For lunch, probably I could just do like a tofu scramble.
Yeah.
So you can season it up and add spinach or any other dark greens. And then for dinner, my go-tos are usually rice and beans or chili or fried rice or like cheaper staple foods.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you've worked your ways around it. You've been vegan for how long?
Quite a while. I guess I haven't kept I don't know the specific date that has occurred.
You said you're going to school. You're around the same age. I'm 23 right now. Or no, I'm 24. I just turned 24.
I'm going back to school. So I have a bachelor's.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going back to school for another degree. unrelated to the previous degrees.
Okay. Okay.
So
All right.
I'm a bit older.
Yeah, for sure. I got you. Yeah, I don't want you to die. I just wanted to like gauge on where you're at in
It's all
life
good.
and like
Yeah,
get to know
absolutely.
you kinda, but like you don't have to say anything about who you are. Like obviously you told me your first name, but you don't have to go anything further than that.
Yeah, I'll like if you ask me a question, I will say what I'm comfortable saying.
Okay, for sure.
It's all good here.
All right. So I'm literally just gonna go through the list and be like, because these are legit. This is like legit. The reason why this stream has stemmed is because I was just curious. Like I
Yeah.
have vegan friends, but I never had someone like you come into my stream or come into my life. Where the only exposure I've had to your kind of vegan, and I'll keep like I said, I'll keep saying that. So no, I feel like I'm bad. I feel like like as a because it's been a derogatory term because you guys there's like so many stereotypes from
I've faced much worse. Don't worry.
yeah, for sure. I'm trying to keep it respectful and hopefully you know. But I've just been curious because I haven't had that person, and the only exposure I've had was to those people who are outrageous on the internet, who are trying to get that attention, and that's probably for a reason, you know,
Yeah.
to get that attention and to do that. But to finally talk to someone, which is really cool, and I'm glad you came to my stream, and we're open to discussion. So I'm glad thank you for coming for today's stream.
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
Thanks for having me.
for sure. So another question I wanted to ask you was, as a vegan, are there any negative sides that you've had or negative things that you've seen throughout your time as a vegan?
I think the most negative thing is the social aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So much of society here is focused on food. Like, hey, let's go out to get dinner together. Hey, let's go out and we're gonna go on a date and we're gonna get a meal together. And obviously, these things revolve around food and what you're
Yeah.
eating because that's what the date is about. Um, there aren't many restaurants that focus so much on veganism
Mm-hmm.
or plant-based foods to be the proper term.
Yeah.
It's harder to kind of schedule things with people sometimes
Yeah.
because oh, I'm in the mood to have a steak, and I'm like, well, okay,
Yeah.
well then I guess we'll plan for another time.
Yeah, for sure.
Or we'll have special events happening and everybody will be like, oh, okay, well, we'll have brats and hamburgers, and then, oh, hey, Logan, what are you going to bring? Because you got to bring your own thing for yourself because
Mhm.
you're the only one who's not going to partake in this. And I think it's social stigma is the only hard part
Mm-hmm.
to overcome
Mm-hmm.
that I have noticed personally.
Yeah, and I saw that throughout my research, and I was my general Google searches and what are the pros of veganism, what are the cons, and listed in one of those cons was social isolation or social separate
Separation,
yeah, separation of yeah, just because of food or something. I've read that and I've actually experienced that firsthand. I mean, because I had a vegan friend, one of my army buddies. She's a vegan. She's still a vegan, I believe. Um, she's a Hispanic origin, so obviously that is not Hispanic people are not vegan by nature. Um, but yeah, she's vegan too. But I had to kind of when I invited her to a party to my house, I had to kind of accommodate her, and we've been trying to talk about going out to eat or hanging out, but it's been hard because we were trying to find something. Even though there's stuff out there, it's also because of scheduling and like other people work or go to school. But it's especially where I live because I live really close to the city, so there's definitely stuff out there. But it's just been hard for us to like schedule something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I've dealt with it firsthand for sure.
It can be a hurdle.
Yeah, it's definitely a hurdle, but it's definitely a hurdle you can jump over. So obviously you can go off the positives on veganism. I was gonna ask you that because that's on the next thing on my list. Like, I was curious, but I think everyone knows the positives of veganism. In terms of based in the non-vegan in my mind, there are the health benefits. Obviously, people think of that, and then there's the what do you call it? The non-disturbance of other living beings. I'm just basically gonna skip the positives because I feel like people know it, but like I don't know. But
Yeah, I think. Well, I guess my opinion. So for the health benefits,
mm-hmm.
I'll just do 1 point for all three. You know, the health,
Yeah.
environment,
Mm-hmm.
moral. Health benefits. You cannot get cholesterol from plant-based foods unless you get like the super processed oils, vegetable oils.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, it's almost impossible to get cholesterol from
Okay.
plants.
Gotcha.
Cholesterol is one of the biggest contributing factors to things like cardiovascular diseases that can lead to things like strokes or heart attacks or pulmonary hypertension that leads to heart failure, yada yada yada. Environmental aspect, unless you are driving all day every day and you have a gas guzzler vehicle, going vegan is probably the single greatest thing an individual can do to lessen their carbon footprint
Mm-hmm.
on the environment if you're environmentally focused. And from a morality perspective, I think everybody, if they were given enough time and thought about it enough and kind of were critical of themselves and went through the logic behind everything, they're vegans at heart. It's just a matter of showing them how that is the case to them.
Yeah.
And whether or not they're willing to accept self-critique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Oh, Wolfie, I saw your comment. Thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. She was just mentioning that not a lot of people like to see other sides of things. So, like me talking to you, some people like to base their point of view of a vegan as what they see on the internet. But
Like
not many
a
people.
weak, frail, protein deficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
mean, like I said, I wasn't vegan for the longest part of my life,
Yeah.
and I definitely viewed those stereotypes the same way as you do.
For sure. I was gonna ask you. That was my next question was fitting into stereotypes, like how much you fit into those stereotypes and shit. But
I think I fit into it just because society has kind of
put you there,
put me there, and instead of kind of shying away from it, I've decided, you know what, I'm just gonna embrace it.
Yeah.
If they decide, if society keeps telling me, it's like, hey, how do you know if somebody's vegan? They'll tell you. That's the reason I got my cycling jersey that literally just says vegan across the front of it, because I'm fine doing it.
Yeah.
But in reality, majority of the time when I talk to people that I know or I'm close with or whatever, they're like, hey, you want to come out and we're gonna go to Buffalo Wild Wings and get a bunch of chicken wings? I'm like, oh no thanks, I'm good.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, why don't you want to come? I was like, well, I can either just delay the inevitable and come up with some other excuse, or I could just say the truth and say, well, I'm vegan, I'm not going to eat anything there. And then it's like, oh, you're vegan, blah blah blah, and then maybe sometimes people are like, oh, how do you know somebody's vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you, even though I was the one that was asked. Yeah. So I'll embrace the stereotype, no problem.
Sure. Has that been hard for you? Because like if you're going out like and people didn't know you were vegan, and has that like changed their perspective of you?
I think the most recent case that I can think of right now is in school currently. Because I cycle to school, and when I cycle there, I'm wearing my jersey because it's good for wicking sweat away and stuff. Because I'm not gonna wear like a thick shirt and jeans when I'm cycling 15 miles one way.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh hey, you're wearing a jersey, this is vegan, blah blah blah. So it opens conversation to that. I haven't recently had an instance of somebody not knowing that I'm vegan and saying, hey, let's go eat at Steak Shack or something like that. Yeah. So don't quite have an opinion on something like that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. Where am I at? There's like a lot of questions to get through. We can get into the dicey stuff right now. I'm really just trying to figure out who you are as a person and like.
For sure. You'll direct it. It's your stream.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, let's see. So I guess we'll get into. Let's see. Did all that. Oh wow, we're kind of punching. It's been 30 minutes. Holy crap.
Well, technically, I think you started talking at about 10 minutes in.
Yeah,
and then
I do that just because of stream latency, and some people don't get notified for upwards of 10 minutes. So I just do that so that people can come into the stream and talk, if they want to talk as well.
For sure.
All right. So I actually wanted to talk to you about this one because there's a couple comments that you made, and I'm just the comment where you should make my dog go vegan, right?
Sure.
I always had a negative connotation to that because naturally they were meat eaters, and I wanted to ask you this question, like, to make my dog go vegan, I feel that's denying him a natural way of life. So how do you feel about that? Making a dog go vegan when like I don't know if you've seen those videos online where the animal will be given a choice of a vegan food and meat animal byproduct food, and 9 times out of 10 the animal will go straight to
I have seen the that vegan dog video
yeah, yeah,
where they played with the salad or whatever.
yeah,
So dogs, just like humans, are
mm-hmm.
classified as omnivores
Mm-hmm.
biologically.
Yeah, yeah,
We can eat meat. We don't have to.
yeah,
Dogs, in the same sense, because they're omnivores just as such, can eat meat, but they don't have to survive.
mm-hmm.
So how come it is wrong then to say that we can just feed them plant-based if it's something they can survive off of?
It's true, that's true, but
Like if they can get all the nutrients and carbs, fat, protein from plant-based foods, is there any complaint against having that happen?
yeah. Well, I don't know if you've seen it on the other perspective, but for my dog, I have given him the choice of other foods. He'll eat a carrot, and I think that's his. Personally, I think that's his favorite vegetable. But if I were to give him the choice of the carrot or the I guess I have one of the wet foods that I have for him that he absolutely loves. Um, he will pick that all the time. So, in my perspective, dogs will always choose a meat versus a you know, something else. I haven't seen any vegan based foods like that are kibble or something like that.
There's a brand that I've looked at. I don't have any pets,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't say for sure. And if I were to get a pet, I would research it, of
Mhm.
course.
Yeah.
One brand is Benevo yeah, Benevo, I think, like benevolent,
Mm.
but without the lent part,
Hmm.
and it's vegan cat and dog food.
Mm.
Um,
At the same time.
and so far, for cats or dogs,
Oh,
like
okay.
you'd have to get the specific
Oh,
brand
gotcha.
because
Okay.
obviously cats and
Yeah.
dogs both need specific food.
Okay.
But from what I've seen, the reviews are fairly positive.
Okay.
I haven't, again, I haven't researched myself much
Yeah.
into it because I do not have a pet, so I haven't had the need to actually look into it.
Yeah. I guess, and I'm getting into some rocky territory because whenever you say "in my opinion," that automatically invalidates an opinion. I feel like, or invalidates I guess a stance. But in my perspective, I just feel like dogs. We'll keep it as dogs
Sure.
are voluntarily carnivore most of the time, and that's what I see.
Would you be able to? Do you think dogs would be able to survive and thrive without animal products, like without meat or whatever?
Personally, no.
What do you think a plant-based diet would not give them?
I'm not saying that they can't survive off it. I'm just saying like if I were to release my dog in the wild, I have not seen. Well, I've seen him like graze through the grass, but I think he's just eating like dirt or something. but cause we just have grass, so I don't know if he's eating any plants out there. But my dog is one of those bred to be a hunting dogs kind of dogs. He's a Chiweenie, and those dogs were meant to hunt. They were bred to hunt like rodents and stuff. And I guess I don't know why there's such a natural instinct for him to chase every fucking squirrel in my fucking neighborhood, but I think it's for a natural instinct. Obviously I'm not gonna let him chase a squirrel because there's a fucking road, um, but yeah, that's just from what I see with a dog and with experience with a pet. You know, naturally I just think that's what they would go for. I wouldn't. Obviously they're out, and keep in mind I know that animals are opportunistic. So if they find it, they'll eat it. No questions about that. So I guess if you wanted to see my stance on that, if they could survive, of course, because they're opportunistic. If they find a plant, they'll eat the plant. But I don't think that also with animals, since they're naturally hunters, they'll hunt. They won't, forage, I guess. I mean, they're always foraging, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think this specific conversation, not
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah.
This specific conversation would go down the thought process of if something being natural makes it right to do. Because as you were saying, dogs naturally might be inclined to hunt something. Does that mean that it is then okay to hunt that thing? And I don't want to derail the conversation too much because this would go down a whole another argumentation.
It's on the list too. The natural thing is on the list too.
If we get to that, you know what? I think for now, we'll go for your questions. I can answer your questions.
Yeah.
And if my answer leads to another one of your questions you already have, then we can hold off on that discussion just for sure. The flow of it.
Yeah.
Lord of Crumbs says, I want to know his stance on breeding dogs for a specific purpose.
Oh, that is a good question. That is a great question.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer your question with a question.
Oh, here we go.
What is your stance on breeding pugs because they look cute, having their facial structure kind of crushed and respiratory issues behind it?
Yeah, low-key, I didn't get that either. Like, why pugs? I'm like, I don't know. Or like, why do that?
Yeah, so my stance is to take your answer as to why to breed pugs like that and just expand it to every breed of dog. And consistency speaking, you can tune the argument just a little bit depending on the breed of dog, and it roughly ends up as the same argument is what I have come across.
I feel like that also this is also going to go to a caveat of where humans stand on how they control things, right? So like we've done in terms of like, and we're going to go into like the food chain thing as well. Humans have done so much, and I guess altered the timeline of animals and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I don't know.
We have, that's for sure.
For sure. Do you, okay, this is the question. Do you think we have positively affected animals in any way? Like, at least, like, something? Like, I know we've done a lot of negatives. There's no doubt about it. There's been so many negatives. But do you see any positives for what we have done as humans for animals?
I guess it depends on how you look at it. So overwhelmingly, as you said, we've been a negative on the vast majority of animals. The positives, if you were to look at it from an evolutionary standpoint, the animals that we farm and culture and take in as companion animals like cats, dogs, certain breeds of birds and stuff, those animals specifically definitely benefit from us because they are able to continue existing. They're able to create more progeny to exist, which evolution demands. Survival of the fittest, whatever breed is most fit for whatever the environment they're in, if they're able to pass their genes on and continue their line, that is the quote unquote winning of nature.
Yeah.
And so for the animals that we farm, absolutely have benefited. Like, they're not going to be going away anytime soon, based on current society.
Yeah.
Every other animal have been decimated by our activity.
Yeah, for sure. Oh shit! I just forgot of a question. It's on there somewhere, but I feel like I have ADHD because I can go from like here to here to here to here on everything. Because with veganism as a topic,
you can definitely branch off.
You can get into so many fucking things.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay. And while we're talking, this actually does knock out some of my other questions too. I'm like of what I was curious about.
For sure.
Oh, I was
answering questions.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna ask you this too. Could you see society going completely vegan based on how we are now?
Yes. Given a time scale, I wouldn't be able to tell you a time scale. But, for example, for like with war. If you were to ask, it's like, hey, do you think humanity could ever be peaceful with each other.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the history of warfare amongst humanity, we have certainly been on a decline in how much war is occurring
Mm-hmm.
in all of society. You look at slavery of humanity throughout history, and that is on the decline.
Mm-hmm.
Crime in general is just going down. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't tell you when, or any prediction of what will happen in regards to these things that are currently happening.
Yeah.
I would have hopes that eventually it could stop, or it could realistically be almost non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
And in the same vein, I could view veganism as following a similar trend, just on a different timeline as other issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's go with this topic again. Your stance on animal labor, and we can go into agricultural, but like you said, you for consistency's sake, and you said this last stream that for service animals you would be against it.
Yeah. So we'll go with consistency's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency's sake, I would be against animal labor because does the animal consent to being a tool, so to speak, to be used by humans to assist the human specifically?
Well, like in the service dog aspect, I mean, I feel like dogs are pretty voluntarily doing it. They've been like man's best friend for since time began. So I feel like I've seen a lot of happy dogs. Now I actually haven't seen like the dark side of animal service. Like animal service, I haven't seen the dark side of it. Like ADA for anybody ADA or under disability, I haven't really seen the dark side because most of the time, and I don't say it happens, and I don't say it doesn't happen, but like most times, people who with service animals treat obviously because they need them, they treat their service animals with the utmost respect and almost as if, well, especially since I'm in the military, the what happens when you have a military working dog is they in their the dog is actually higher ranked than you. So the dog is, since you're in that team, the dog is actually outranked you. So I feel like there's in terms of like respect and treating the dog fairly, dogs are usually, when they're in the service, they're usually ranked higher than the human itself because they're the ones that are helping them out, and they're the ones that are like, I guess they're the ones, since they're being used, they're the ones that are being treated better, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, obviously I wouldn't say that to train these service dogs they're going and beating them into submission
Mm-hmm.
to do the purpose or whatever duty they're supposed to serve. But it does take a lot of coercion to have a dog do what they do in service industries. And I think something that is extreme is that, where they are subjected to, not like, again, I'm not saying they're being beat or anything, but it is pretty intense training to get them to do these things. Something like that is not something that I could see an animal agreeing to, because it's clearly something to service humans. It is something that they are kind of forced into, because like a dog can't come up to you and say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, and then they leave. They're I don't want to use the term just because of negative connotation, but I'm going to say it anyway. But like, groomed into doing what they do, because we breed these specific types of dogs because they have traits that might show more relation to loyalty or obedience or whatever, and then we take those traits and we breed them further into a dog, and then we take that dog and we say, okay, we're going to put you through a 6-month regimen, intense regimen, so you obey every command we give you, yada, yada, yada. And that I would disagree with, in the same sense as, taking, let's say you have like a 10-year-old kid and you start like regimenting them, and it's like, you know what, I'm going to train you to be a service to me or something.
Child actors. That's the worst one.
Yeah. like child actors. Yeah, they raise them like, you know what, I'm gonna drill into you that you're gonna be a child actor.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the parents will benefit from them being
Mm-hmm.
child actors because they get some of the money.
Mm-hmm.
But and there is some gray ground depending on how you want to look at it. But
Yeah.
overall, I'd rather not have that happen.
Yeah.
I think with companion animals, my stance aligns with PETA is
Mm-hmm.
adopt, don't shop.
Of course.
There are plenty of animals that are on the chopping block, so to speak.
For sure.
They're alive. They are unwanted by a lot of other people because they would rather have a fresh, newborn puppy of whatever breed they want.
Yeah.
They'll take that rather than this, 3-year-old kind of sickly looking dog.
Mm-hmm.
So to them, this 3-year-old sickly looking dog doesn't deserve life because they would rather have a newborn dog fit to their specifications of what they want. And I think an adopted dog can, serve a similar purpose as an emotional bond as any other. But
yeah, for sure. I'm gonna get to your question, Wolfie, about the wrong to eat dogs and stuff because we have talked about that before. But I want to ask something for you personally, since we're gonna talk about the stereotype again. I went to Oregon once to go visit a buddy of mine, and I saw the PETA guys out there doing the whole what was it? They had the grill out and they had the stuffed animals of different things. And I just wanted to ask you, have you participated in such events where you picketed a company for, or just picketed in general, the eating of animals or just using animal products? Have you participated yourself? Are you known to be the activist vegan, or just you just have that moral standpoint and you don't really participate? Because there's people who have that standpoint but aren't really in that scene,
I have done activism, but I have not done that type of activism,
like the extreme activism.
I haven't gone I haven't gone into a KFC or McDonald's and poured red paint over the ground and all that stuff, but I have gone to public areas, and it's kind of like the holding a sign, everybody should go vegan, change my mind, and then people can come up and talk to me and I'll talk to them.
Yeah.
Like I'll talk to anybody about it.
Also, sorry, Crumbs. I know I pronounced Oregon wrong. I'm from Chicago, all right? We enunciate our O's, okay? I know it's Oregon, all right? But sometimes that slips out. My Chicago accent slips out, all right?
Poor Lord.
Are you from the Midwest too, or are you you don't have to say. I just want to Midwest.
I am, I think 6 miles north of you.
No shit.
Not too far. Not too far from you. I've been down to Chicago a couple times.
Oh shit. Are you okay? We'll talk later about where you're from, and maybe we can go out sometime. Take me out to your spots,
if only there were vegan spots near me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh well.
So let's answer the question that Wolfie said about the argument about the stance on why is it wrong to eat one animal and instead of like our pets or whatever.
Yeah, let me ask you that question.
Yeah.
Whatever is what's in that quote there, I ask you.
Let's see. So yeah, why I feel I don't know how I got to think about it right now because now my brain's farting. So yeah, why? Fuck. How am I supposed to word this one now? Oh god, I'm legit brain farting. It's 11:24. Even though I'm actually like really like awake right now because I'm doing this.
Why is it wrong to eat dogs and cats, but it's fine to eat cows and pigs? What do dogs and cats have that pigs and cows do not have?
Fuck. As an Asian, I'm not gonna go that way, but that's a big thing though, because and I feel I don't know, it is a touchy subject because would I have an issue eating a dog? Maybe no, maybe not. I don't know, but I wouldn't eat my dog. But yeah, I don't know. It is a moral dilemma for if you're a common sense person. It is a moral dilemma now, right?
Yeah.
I think it is definitely a moral dilemma, and for someone like me, where can I take this? I don't know. I guess we can go to the aspects like, well, one animal's used for a different purpose, and one animal's used for a different, and that, as a human, we just have taken advantages of those things, right? Where we have said this is for this and this is for this, right? So we can go into the argument. We can go into that where it's just like humans have really just chosen what is right and what is wrong, and I don't know. We can go off of that. Like, I guess it's both shitty and it's a, for me. I think it's a shitty topic. Yeah, you're right. Fucking Crumbs' stance on it, where he'll do it no matter what, as long for survival.
If you think it's a shitty stance or to take one of these positions, well, why is that?
I don't know.
Why would it be shitty to think that it's our right to dictate what an animal is worth?
Because, well, I've seen this time and time again, and I guess I've kind of fallen that line as a non-vegan, where some animals don't have that stature in, I guess, sentience, or in terms of, and we're probably gonna get into this. Really, I guess this is where it's gonna go. Is like animals and humans, are not on the same level. Whereas I guess a vegan would say that everyone's on the same level. Okay, this is actually bringing me back on track. So, I guess as a non-vegan, like animals and humans are definitely not in the same amount of sentience. Where I feel like with fish, like fish are not as smart as humans. So I mean, and this is gonna bring your stance on like why do we think this is morally right to do something when they're not at this level of brain usage versus this level of brain usage, right? But yeah, as we are as humans, we have, yeah, I don't know. I'm going in circles now, but it's just that what I've come to understand is that humans are not in the same um bracket, or animals are not in the same bracket as humans. And I guess you can go something from there, and I can come back with that.
There are two arguments
Yeah.
that I would pursue with
Mm-hmm.
that thought. I don't know if you'd rather go down my argument path with you, or if you would like to continue your questioning. I'm fine with either.
You could do
It is your
your
stream.
stance. You could do your stance right now. That's
All
fine.
right, let's
Yeah.
see. Which one do I want to do? Animals are on a different level than humans.
Mm-hmm.
Was the stance that you had?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to go with the more benign response, or do you want me to go with the extremist vegan response?
Like
I'll go
start
either.
with the benign, and then like go right,
Benign.
and then I go straight into the like caveat straight into the extreme one.
Um,
If you can
I'll
do
get
that.
your response for the well. I'll get your response for the benign one, and then I can swap to the extremist.
Mm-hmm.
So, the benign one. What trait do we possess that animals do not possess? And in this case, you were saying, fish are less worth than dogs are.
Mm-hmm.
What trait do we have that dogs have slightly less of, that fish have less of, that cows have less of than dogs, that pigs have less of than dogs, that cats have more of than a sheep, for example?
Mm-hmm.
What trait is this that exists that allow us to do what we do to these specific animals?
Yeah. Oh, look at Crumbs now. Personally, I feel more closer to vegans on this one because I feel animals are on the same level as humans, but I think it as a way of we are both creatures. That is true. Is if we, I feel like nature is like the ultimate equalizer. No matter what, nature will always be the natural equalizer. Like we may think we're on the high food chain, and the only reason why we survive because I think we fuck it's trying to think of it. Sorry, I'm like thinking now. So I mean, I guess what we have and why we do the things that we do to animals is because that the difference between a fish and a dog is that a dog has more consciousness than a fish. So I think as we are as humans, we will think of less of a fish than a dog because you can't really a fish ain't gonna do what a dog does right now. They have their working jobs and they have their companionship positions, so we value them higher, and we, I guess, in a sense, fuck with them less than we do other animals. Now, as for with that argument, I guess I can't use that for like cows because cows are smart too. Pigs are smart. They're all smart. But it also came down to how it's also a natural thing where we, as we came up through civilization, as we came up through, through time, we have used those to eat, and that's how it's stayed, So,
let's see. I have the response from that, or I could go to the extreme one.
We can go either way.
So as you're saying, fish are less cognitive than dogs. So therefore, dogs should be as more companion-esque animals, and fish
become food
as a food source.
Yeah.
I am more cognitive than a mentally handicapped or impaired person. What am I allowed to do to that mentally handicapped or impaired person? Can I kill them to eat them?
With this, because it's a human, they're still in that bracket of a human, right?
So that goes to the original point. What trait do humans have that animals do not have? That allows us to do what we do to animals, but not to humans?
I don't know.
The first answer, as you said, was intelligence or cognitive ability. Mentally handicapped people do not have cognitive ability. So they are outside the realm of safety that is prescribed to humans. So what is there a different trait that humans might have that protect them from what we do to animals?
We can go with this argument as well, is that through history, the reason why we eat animals is because they taste good. It's like a satisfaction thing too. And now there's also, as people learn that there's also nutrients with them when they eat food, when they eat animals. So I guess, and you could say like, would a human taste good? I personally didn't think so, because I feel like there's been studies where if you eat a human, there's psychological factors with it. There's, other things with it. Whereas if you eat something else, there's not really too many.
So if you eat, the only health concern with eating human is if you eat the brain and they have a prion disease like Kuru, you can contract it yourself. Aside from that, society, because you've been indoctrinated to think that eating human is wrong. That is the only psychological reason. In the same sense, if somebody comes up to you and is like, "Oh man, I just had this amazing Rottweiler for dinner," you'd be like, "Bro, what?" So if society shifted, for example, and said that eating animals is wrong, and somebody comes up to you in 100 years and says, "Dude, I just killed this cow and ate it. It was delicious," you'd be like, "Dude, what's wrong with you?" There would still, that psychological thing would be the same. It's just that in society currently, it's okay to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would argue to change that, because morally, the reasons of an action occurring, the psychological problems as you listed wouldn't actually be a problem, or would actually be a problem if society changed one way or another.
Yeah.
Well, and as Wolfie said, vegan food can taste good too, though.
That's true. That is true.
So is taste a good enough reason to do what we do to animals?
Yeah. I feel like, and this is my personal opinion, I feel like this argument is definitely a vegan win, because non-vegans can't win everything, But, a lot of us like to just stay fucked, We just, we just stay this way, and we just don't care.
I remember when I was saying that.
Yeah.
A number of years ago, I had a discussion with a group of friends, and we were talking about social justice movements and stuff like that throughout history. and we were like, "Oh, what's the next big social justice movement going to be?" And we all agreed, like unanimously, "Oh, veganism is going to be," and we all just like shrugged it aside.
Mm-hmm.
None of us were vegans.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, whatever. I'm not going to do it now because
Mm-hmm.
whatever." Although we all agreed morally
Mm-hmm.
that is the way
Wrong.
society will progress.
Yeah.
And then of that group, I'm the only one that actually made
Did
the
it.
change
Yeah.
a while later. And
There's definitely progression.
it's a matter of fighting for what's right.
Yeah. There's definitely progression for it because you look back, I don't know how many years. Veganism wasn't a thing that so many years ago. I mean, I'm younger than you, but I could tell like way back when not many people were vegan. Now, when you look at today, there's definitely representation for sure, you know?
It's grown. Like in America, I think
Mhm.
almost 1% of
Yeah.
the population is vegan at this point.
Yeah.
UK, I think, has a bigger lead on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, UK for sure because I feel like they have a great diversity with things like in terms of like diet,
Yes.
and they're much more closer than we are to other countries. So obviously they're probably gonna have a better exposure to those things.
Yeah. I never actually got to my extremist argument. You
Mhm.
could either continue your questioning, or we could go back to the
Go
discussion.
go ahead and mention it, and then we'll move on because I kind of want to because I feel like it is a losing argument, and that's why I'm having such a hard time trying to figure
For
it out.
sure. All right. I will ask this honestly, although it seems absurd.
Uh-huh.
Why is it wrong to torture an animal, but it is okay to kill them to eat them?
Okay, I guess that brings into the usage of animals, and for like hunting stuff. As a human, we want to survive, and the way we knew how to get food and sources was through animal meat too. So you're gonna it brings into the thing where it's like just because it's natural and just because it's doesn't make it right. Um, in a sense, yes and no. I mean, like because it's just it's just a way of life. It's nature, and I feel like I said before, I'm gonna say this. What I believe in is nature is the ultimate equalizer, and that if nature can do it, then I feel like in an aspect it's fine, right? That's just something I believe in.
So what is wrong with torturing an animal? Do you think it's wrong to do
Because
so?
I feel like with since I I grew up with people with a background of hunting. To torture an animal it's cruel, but to safely dispatch them and then use them for the intended purpose that you're going to eat them, their life wasn't really in vain. As where you're torturing them, you're just doing it for a sick, sadistic way. And you're going to disagree with me. Hunting and then eating them for food doesn't seem sadistic, whereas you're using it to eat and you're using their life wasn't in vain because you used them to, and I guess that it brings in so many things, right? This topic. Where like hierarchy, why do we use them to eat? Why it's so much. But the reason why it's wrong to torture an animal because any sane person, if you torture anything, you're fucked in the head, right? But if you're using them to eat, like I guess I could go with crumb stand. If you kill someone and you eat them, I was like, I mean that's weird, but like you got to survive, right? But
yeah. I think. It's very hard to answer from a non-vegan's perspective.
I forgot I was on the thing.
Vegan states.
Mm-hmm.
No, so it is a hard question
I
to answer.
Read it, so.
Why is it wrong to torture an animal? We'll ignore the other aspects of my question. I'll focus specifically. Why is it wrong to torture an animal? Ignore the fact of like people hunting or people using an animal food. Why is it wrong to torture an animal? Just go out, grab a stray cat, and do whatever you want to it. Why would it be wrong to do that to a cat? Well, or is there anything wrong with
it? There is something wrong with it, but this is where we differ, and this is where our hard points stand. Is that if you kill it and eat it, then it's fine because you used it. But if you're killing it and torturing it, then it's wrong. I guess that's where our stance is, and that's where the hard point is. Where I'm not gonna understand your side because this is where I believe, and this is because I think you believe that if you kill them, that's still torturing. Whereas if you kill them and you still eat them, it's fine. But if you're torturing them, it's wrong. It's a moral aspect thing, I think.
Yeah. So why would you say it is wrong? to torture a cat?
Because torture in, torture in its core is just wrong in general. You know?
Why?
Why is it wrong?
Yes.
Because you're making
like it's going to the root point of
Mhm.
it. Why would it be wrong to torture a cat?
because it's wrong to make something suffer. But that brings into my point that if you kill it and you eat it and you kill it the correct way, which is instantly, because you kill something instantly, they're not going to feel it. So
So if like 50% of deer that are hunted are shot once and then run off and are bleeding out and then eventually from blood loss kind of pass out and then the hunter comes and kills them,
yeah,
is the amount of suffering they are subject to okay or not?
well, if you miss, then you gotta at least try to get your second shot in. You gotta minimize the amount of suffering, but that does happen, and that could that does happen, but that's hunting.
I'm gonna focus on your minimizing the amount of suffering that you said there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there'd be less suffering if nobody hunted?
Definitely. Like if nobody did anything to them, then yeah, sure.
So if you're saying it's best to lessen the suffering when possible, and an option of not hunting at all to reduce suffering was given to you, do you think that would be the choice to take?
I guess my point still stands. Where if you're using them to eat them, it's still fine to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep going.
Yeah, for sure.
I know I saw your list that you had. So
yeah,
we can go to your next question.
For sure. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so I guess this caveats back to the human interaction or the human interference question.
Sure.
So naturally, we're going to with the sheep question, where sheep grow a lot of wool, whereas humans use that wool. Whereas if that were not to happen, it would overgrow. Same thing with a goat's horn. There are certain breeds of goats that if their horn grows too big, it goes into their skull and it kills them. But with human intervention, that stops that and they get to live. I mean, I guess that are, put your point out, where it's like human intervention with certain aspects has helped out so many animals. So I guess I want to get your stance on that. Is like, you do see that there, with human interventions, there are some good human intervention. You can't agree on that, I guess.
Yeah, to a degree. If I'm kind of walking around my house right now, I got a while, like I said. If it starts kind of crackling, let me know, and then I'll just stop talking, and I'll get back to where I'm going.
I like walking around when I talk too. If you're on like the phone or something, I love walking around. It just happens. Yes. I just start walking around and doing random shit.
Oh, heck yeah. So I think for the point of, like you said, humans have helped animals. There are definitely breeds of animals out there that have a much greater existence, evolutionarily speaking, because of human intervention, but that has come at the cost of a great suffering to many other species. So if you were to look at, let me think how to Google it. There's, I think it's 12,000 some odd species of animals are near extinction right now. Almost directly due to animal agriculture. So, we farm cows, pigs, sheep, horses, chickens. So, a select other, 10, 20 different species of animals are being farmed by humans at the expense of 10,000 plus species of other animals. So why are those 10 species more important than the 10,000 plus of other species?
And that just probably comes down to the usage of animals. They became
and what
more
we decide. What we decide is
they became
more
important to us, right? And then the other ones were just cast aside.
And like Lord of Crumbs says, without human intervention, those animals, like you said, sheep growing wool to insane lengths, would not have occurred without us. So we've also caused suffering even to the animals that we are helping.
Inadvertently,
Well, now it is pretty inadvertently.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we bred sheep to produce an insane amount of wool for us to use. We have bred cows to produce an insane amount of milk. We have produced chickens to grow to beyond their physiology or physiological limits, and so they'll have broken legs and stuff as they get older and a lot bigger. So even the animals we farm, while they are continuing, the progeny continues to exist due to our help. Each individual still suffers.
Yeah.
But it's I guess I was arguing from an evolutionary standpoint where their gene continues to progress.
Yeah.
But the individual still definitely doesn't have a wonderful life.
All right. Let's move on to one where I've just been we've just been kind of dancing around kind of the same topics that we talked about last time, right?
Sure.
I wanted to talk about vegan influencers like Joey Carbstrom, that vegan teacher, those kinds of people. Yes. And do you feel they've been accurately and I guess advocating for your guys' movement? Because I feel like with that vegan teacher, a lot of people have not been taking her seriously at all. A lot of people have clowned on her for sure. So do you feel like there have been good vegan influencers that have been really putting strides toward your guys' movement, or just I guess as veganism?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you said
so Earthling Ed was the guy I messaged you about. Not to look too much into it, because he was the he's the guy. He takes the approach that I am kind of taking with you, the gentler approach.
Yeah.
And he, I think, is one of, if not the biggest, vegan YouTubers out there. Like, of all the vegan YouTubers, I think he has the most subscribers. Joey Carbstrom, I really like him. He will do activism if the person that he's talking to is willing to have a discussion with them. He there are plenty of videos out there where he will have a civil discussion with them. And then he'll have, older folks coming up and screaming at him. It's like, oh, you're an idiot, veganism is dumb, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And Joey doesn't take, crap from other people. So he'll fire back just the same way that he's attacked.
For sure.
So he'll respond to the emotion he's given with an equivalent emotion.
Yeah.
And he's been on the Piers Morgan show and other talk shows in British news talks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, since vegans are the minority, they're definitely the ones that are more picked on. So he's a little bit more defensive, a little bit more aggressive, or defensively aggressive with the things. But I've yet to see something he said that I have objectively disagreed with.
Yeah.
Sure. At point, everything he says is true. As for that vegan teacher, the infamous one, I think she's an absolute hoot. I really like what she. I don't really watch a lot of her, honestly. I think a lot of the vegan influencers, there's no point for me watching it because it's literally just them trying to outreach to non-vegans and talk to them. And I'm already vegan, so it doesn't matter to me what they're saying.
Yeah.
She has had a number of serious videos where she is being not so obtuse with what she's saying.
Yeah.
And she is very sane. She is smart.
Okay.
She went on a podcast some time ago. There's no way I can dig it up for you because it's so long ago.
Yeah, for sure.
She went on a podcast and she discussed the rationale for why she's doing what she does and the way she's doing it. Because she's really out there and she does all these crazy things, whatever. And she said on the podcast, every social justice movement in history has always started with some people that were erratic in some way. The ones that just got the word out there. The name of this movement needs to exist somehow. And thinking about that to herself, she realized, you know what? There aren't many vegans doing that at the moment. And the internet is a great source to do that. You could reach out to millions of people as she has. And so she's reaching out there. People know what vegan means. And although a majority of people disagree with her because she's saying things that are saying, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Obviously, they're going to feel attacked. The viewer's going to feel attacked.
Yeah.
But she's got notoriety. There's tons of people who are now thinking about veganism. Sure, you can mock that vegan teacher, but there are a number of people who are going to look further into it. They're going to start looking at YouTube. They're going to see Joey Carbstrong. They're going to see Earthling Ed. They're going to see, other vegan YouTubers. They're going to start watching that content, and they're going to realize, wait a second, this movement actually has merit to it. And they're going to move to it. And so that vegan teacher, although she seems crazy to most, she she definitely is getting word out there. I think she is objectively a good for the movement, because there, of the many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that have viewed her videos,
Mm-hmm.
I guaranteed there are a number of them that have gone on to look at other vegan content
Mm-hmm.
and then realized, oh, yeah, we're going to start moving to this.
For sure.
She would not have been popular if she didn't attack it in this inflammatory
Yes.
way she's done.
Yeah.
She's doing it intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing it because she knows it will be popular.
Yep.
And will get people into thinking about it.
For sure. That is good. And that's true for anything. If you want to get something right to your movement, then sometimes you just got to be erratic with it. You got to get your voice heard.
Yeah.
And
like,
that,
what do you think of Rosa Parks? She sat on the front of the bus
Yeah.
in the civil rights movement.
and that was considered heinous.
Pretty
at the time.
erratic,
Heinous,
yeah.
Yeah.
And we look back at her now, 50, 60 years later.
Yeah.
Rosa Parks was like a monument to the civil rights movement.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's see what else I got. I guess I don't know how you could do this one. We're probably. I think this is kind of heading towards the end of our conversation, because there is a lot of questions on there, but a lot of the questions kind of caveated into one and caveated to the other. So like one question or like one answer will answer like 5 of my questions or whatever.
Oh,
so
sure.
we are getting close to my thing. So we'll answer my smaller ones right now.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I was gonna answer this. But what do you think are the costs? Like you said, we could go to a vegan society completely if the world went vegan. What do you think are the costs, or what do you think has to change in order to do that? In order to completely change.
Society's
Standpoint.
Yes,
Yeah.
I guess would be the best word to use.
And that's
in the same sense. Like if I were to ask you in the 1960s, what would have to happen for civil rights for Black people have to change for them to be given the same rights? I don't know if you're mentioning monetarily cost or if you were just saying cost.
Like societal cost too. So that's what I was kind of going for, societal as well.
Yeah, so
we
societal cost.
We can go off on monetary too, but like that's a whole another can of worms.
Yeah. So society cost, because it's a newer movement. I mean, it's been around a while, but it hasn't picked up pace.
Yeah.
A whole lot. A lot of people don't like being told they're wrong. Is really the root cause.
Oh, for sure.
When people come across vegans, are like, they'll mock them because they are feeling attacked by what the vegan is saying. It's like, you know what, I think killing animals is wrong. Or they'll name the example of like, oh, why is it wrong to kill a dog but not a cow? Or sorry, why is it wrong to kill a cow but not a dog? And then they'll feel attacked, like the vegan is the one that's like, hey, you're wrong. What your philosophy is stupid. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Society, it's going to be hard to shift people to accept that they're wrong. I mean, I accepted I was wrong with what I did when I went to vegan, to this vegan lifestyle. I was literally just discussing with myself what I thought was right or wrong. And I realized, you know what, hey, this is actually wrong. I should probably stop doing it.
Yeah.
And in my stance, I thought, you know what, if I can realize this is wrong, I should stop doing it. I can't take back what I've already done. But because I can't take back what I've already done, it doesn't mean that I should continue to do what I already think was wrong. The best option, like the philosophy of, you plant a tree not for yourself but for the future. Sure, I didn't plant a tree 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I can still plant it now.
Oh, for sure.
And the future will still benefit from it.
Yeah.
As for monetary things,
it's a whole industry, and the industry is just hard to beat. There's definitely a big money aspect that you can get into, corporate greed and stuff like that. It's a big monument.
Yes, and I usually like to argue from trophic levels. I don't know if you've heard of that. A trophic level.
No.
So there's producers, and then consumers, and then secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. Go up the food chain, essentially, as you were to say.
Yeah.
So grass, for example, or like a plant, takes energy from the sun. They're just a primary producer. They're just a producer. They take sunlight and oxygen and water, and they'll make everything, essentially. And then animals, like a cow, will eat those, and then we will eat the cow.
Yep.
The amount of energy that goes into growing the cow, how much food that cow needs to eat, is far greater than if we were to just eat the plants that the cow is eating. So there's a lot of quote unquote wasted resources that go into growing this cow. When, if we're talking about, malnutrition of humans,
Yeah.
it would be better to just go straight to the root source. Like, we can get all of our carbs, fats, and proteins from plants.
Mm-hmm.
So why waste food on animals? If people are really worried about starving humans,
Mm-hmm.
why are we feeding, 80 billion land animals
Yeah.
when we have, 3 million starving humans?
Yeah.
Like, do you really think humans are worth more if you would rather feed these
Mm-hmm.
animals for you to eat, or
Yeah.
would you rather feed those humans if possible?
Mm-hmm. I think,
And that would delve down, a multifaceted discussion.
for sure. I guess for your guys' biggest hurdle is the conservatism of how we have lived. It's definitely your guys' biggest hurdle, because not a lot of people
Yes.
want to change until what you guys are definitely like the odd one out, right?
Yep.
So
I mean, same as every social justice movement. Like, look at every social justice movement in
Yeah.
history. There's always been odd ones out going, and
sure.
they were the crazy ones at the
Mhm.
time, and then it just eventually the philosophy
Mhm.
was accepted by more and more, and then it
Yeah.
became the majority, and then
Yeah.
hey, now it's normal. This is definitely something we should do, and then they started legislating for it and what have you.
For sure.
So I'm just the kind of guy who wants to go out and try to accelerate that
Yeah.
process. I'd rather have it happen sooner rather than later.
It's definitely a hard battle for you guys, that's for sure. I'm just gonna say that. It's definitely kind of Crumbs, it's okay. I gotta figure out my Discord. We had a podcast VC. I had a podcast VC and I never used it. It's my server's all over the place.
You'll get it figured out, I'm sure. I believe you.
Yeah. It's been a while. But yeah, streaming's not my main focus in life. It's definitely one of my passion projects, but it's not my main focus in life.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me just clean up a little bit. I fucking destroyed that acai bowl. Let's see. What else we got? I feel like that pretty much does it for tonight. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things from our past ones and a lot of things from our. Oh shoot! Here we go. They moved us. There you go. It is coming up to the end of our conversation, and I guess I want to give the floor to you and like, what you got, any messages or something you want to say, or I guess the spotlight will now. Well, it's been on you technically this whole time, but like, what you have anything to say, before we end stream?
I guess I would have questions directed back towards you.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of the topics where we kind of left them,
Yeah.
so we could go back to your topics.
Yeah.
I think for the hardest hitting ones, just to go hot and heavy, there's two of them. Give me a second here. Which one would be better to target? We've got you were saying it's okay to hunt animals as long as you use all of them.
Yeah.
But it's wrong to torture them.
Yep.
Let's say I will hunt and kill a human and use the entirety. Like, I'll use all their bones, all their muscles, and everything. Is it okay for me to do that?
In the context of just doing it, like right now?
I do not need to. I do not need to kill another human to eat them and use their products to survive. It is unnecessary for me. Would it be okay for me to do it?
For consistency's sake, I think, sure, why not?
But it's okay to kill another human.
I mean, if you're doing it, I'm not saying you should, but if you're doing it, at least it wasn't, I don't know. It's like, it goes for the same thing. As long as he was used, as long as It's fine by me. I don't know.
Hmm. So is there anything wrong with murdering a human?
Well, there definitely is. Society tells us it's not good.
Does legality equal morality? Because society determined, and they will
Technically,
throw murderers in jail.
in a sense,
Does
yes,
that?
because and obviously there's bad laws and good laws, but for the most part, laws have been there to keep morality in check.
And as you just said, there's good laws and bad laws.
Mhm.
150 years ago, slavery was legal. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
obviously no,
Why not?
because it was affecting humans, and that's going to go into the argument of affecting humans because we have
So what do
complete.
humans possess that animals do not possess? It all loops back
Yeah,
around.
it really does. It really does. Yeah.
So what do humans have? Why is it wrong to do what we do to animals?
We've definitely created a self importance for ourselves, but that's because we have done that. It's definitely we've definitely created a self importance for ourselves and undermined other things. When we have humans from a core have undermined so many different things, and that's how we've come to be where we are now.
So then I would dig a little bit deeper
Hmm.
into this human concept.
Yeah.
Um, so the two directions would be what is so special about Homo sapiens, the
Hmm.
definition for a human, and to go a different route, a more controversial route. Let's say white humans view a different race of humans
Hmm.
as more important than a different race of humans.
Yeah.
So because in reality, it's just a genetic difference.
Yeah.
I have expressive genes that
Hmm.
make me look a little bit different than another.
Yeah.
Therefore, I am better than another person.
That also comes
Is
down
that
to
okay
that
to?
also came down to societal upbringings too. Because why? Okay, as a minor of a person of color, we
Yes.
have always been undermined. So, because of society, white people, they have had a further bump in life than we have had as as a person of color. Because my mom always, I guess, does it all the time. She's like low key racist towards white people and stuff like that. No, I'm just kidding. But but yeah, you guys have had a further start in life, so you guys had an advantage on other races. As
Is that something that is right or something that should be changed?
it's definitely something that can be changed, you know,
I agree
and it
with
has
you.
changed
How has it changed? Or why, I should say.
why has it changed?
Yes.
Because I guess we've
Or do you think why?
because we've learned that we're all human, and skin color doesn't matter because we're all the same.
So we're all human.
Hmm.
What about humans is special? It
We,
all loops back.
yeah. It's all twisted. It's all twisted. Hold on.
I think I have encountered a couple times of people saying, humans, we're special.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're more cognizant than
Yeah.
animals, or there's that in versus out category
Yeah.
where we view likes as better and dislikes as the out group.
Yeah.
But in reality, you can use that to differentiate different races of humans or even different families of humans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's at the core component, my family is better than this family. We're going to start a blood feud because I view my family as better than this family. So we're
Yeah.
going to kill them because we're worth more than them.
Mm-hmm.
You and I would both agree that shouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Going out one more step, a white family thinks they're better than a black family doesn't mean they should be able to do what they want to that other family.
Yeah.
We both agree that would be wrong to do.
Yeah.
One step further, let's go to apes like chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas.
Yeah.
Most humans would think it's wrong to kill those animals, and it's this argument is the same. It's like, sure, they're a little bit different from us, but doesn't mean just because they're different means we can kill them. And you kind of make this step from, because we're all the same species, biologic taxonomy, and although we're all the same species, you can push to smaller steps, haplotypes, because there are numerous haplotypes of humanity, and each haplotype has a specific heritage genealogically. And so you go back to the minor thing, what I was saying at the start, families will fight each other, and it'll expand out to cultures, and now you'll expand out to different races of humans. And now, instead of haplotypes, now we're going to species, and now we're going to genus, where, the genus Homo will fight against the genus Pan. So we'll fight chimpanzees or whatever. You think it's wrong.
Yeah.
So instead of species being a problem, instead of genus being a problem, why don't we go to a class? Why don't we go to order? Why don't we go to every other step above us in the taxonomy, biologically speaking? Why do we make this set distinction? What trait in this biologic taxonomy do we possess, or do these specific animals possess, that give them protection? And to be consistent, it's, you got to take a lot of steps back. And like I said, a lot of people at heart can agree with it if they're able to look deeper into it or take criticism to an extent.
Yeah.
They're able to. They're majority of the time people will agree with me. It's like, that veganism is the right thing to do. It's just blah blah blah. Whatever other argument they have.
People just don't want to change.
People
just don't want to change. Yeah.
And I think everybody can agree that it would be wrong to do essentially anything we do to animals if it's broken down. The reason they explain why it's okay, they think it's what we do to animals is fine, and then extrapolate what we do to animals to humans and try to rationalize that reason. Yeah. Like this whole time we've been discussing, I've kind of made that joke of, okay, we cycle back. What do humans possess that animals don't possess? And a couple times, and
a few times. It's
Lord of Crumbs says, I feel eventually everyone will feel more with either veganism or my ideology, wherein both we are all creatures. Lord, do you think it is wrong to kill another human?
He already answered that, remember? He was the one that was like, he'll do it.
No, he's fine. He's fine with it.
Yeah. He'll do. He's an enigma.
He's an enigma.
Definitely is.
Yeah, I think a majority of the time of the people that I've convinced to go vegan, we've had many discussions.
Yeah.
And they could ask me questions, and a lot of the times I actually answer their question with another question.
Yeah.
To make them think critically about it. After we've had a lot of chats, then I recommend the film Dominion to them, because to convince somebody of something, of whatever stance you hold, there's the trifecta: ethos, pathos, and logos.
Yep.
I gotta Google it really quick. Ethos, pathos, logos.
Logos is logic, ethos is emotional, and pathos is I don't remember. It's been a while since I've been.
Pathos is emotions and feelings.
Yep.
Logos is logic and reason. Yep. Ethos is credibility and ethics.
Yeah. There you go.
And so, from my standpoint, I like to focus on logos.
Yep.
Because I feel like I've been pretty rational and logical.
Sure. Yeah, you have.
Ethos, credibility. I mean, I'm vegan.
Yeah.
I'm arguing from a vegan's perspective to go vegan.
Yeah.
And then pathos, emotions and feelings, and that's something I can't necessarily instill upon another person. That's usually something that is viewed, or the person has to go out of their way to look at. Yeah. And so that's when I recommend Dominion, the movie, because it goes in depth about the cruelty of animal agriculture.
Yeah.
And then you can actually empathize with the animals more, because it's not just me talking about the animals. You can actually see the animals.
Yeah.
And so you're able to draw a little bit stronger of a connection to them.
Yeah, for
sure. Is Wolfie still here?
With
any other questions,
sure.
I wonder.
We can wait for a minute. This is pretty much ending off to our time. I just want to say that this has been great, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for your talk. I appreciate it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully, this is definitely one of my more serious streams. I'm usually a goofball, and we nerd. I usually play games on stream actually, but content is content. So,
Oh, hell yeah. You should play the PETA Pokemon game.
is that a thing?
Yeah. I mean, I presume you could just Google PETA Pokemon game.
Is that a thing? Oh, wow.
I can only assume it's for. I haven't played it myself, but I've seen
Yeah.
stuff about it, and I'm sure it's definitely funny.
I'm looking.
You know, here, that's a question I can slap with you. What's your opinion on PETA?
I've heard some negative things. I haven't done too much research, but I've heard negative things.
Do you think it could be because they are a vegan minority in society that's trying to convince people to go vegan?
A vegan minority?
Sorry. They are a minority in society by being vegan. Or by virtue of being vegan, because vegan is a minority in our current culture.
No, because I don't know. I've just... Is this the thing? Sorry, the PETA thing just popped up. No, because I've heard they've done contradictory things. In terms of, like... I don't know. I have to do more research. I can't say my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think... I feel like I shouldn't say a bit my opinion on them yet. So
no
far,
worries.
Yeah, so yeah, I can't really. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I really can't say my opinion on them because I've only heard negative things, but that's due to media, and media you can't really trust everything. So,
yeah,
so I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm just gonna say I'm indifferent to them. At a core, we should have those types of organizations, you know, to help animals, you know.
Yes.
But I've heard negative things, so let me do some research on what they have done. But yeah, did you? Oh, I want to talk with you this one. I don't know if I said this to you. Did you hear about the Beyond Meat executive that bit a guy?
Oh, but the
Yeah.
nose or
Yeah.
I didn't actually read the story. I got no idea why he did it.
It was a road rage incident, apparently.
It's a road rage.
I guess it was,
Goodness gracious.
and the dude straight up bit the guy, and I guess and removed flesh from the guy from the guy's nose. The Beyond Meat guy did that. He bit him. My mom was making this analogy or the thing too. If you're trying to fight, you're fighting to survive, so you'll do whatever it takes, you know. But that can go into
that was not vegan what he did.
Yeah, not very vegan of him, but that can go into more conversations with that. But
I was on the anti-vegan sub, and like it was posted 4 or 5 times.
Oh, really? Has it?
Like,
I haven't looked at it because I just avoid Reddit, to be honest.
Yeah, but I go there every day just in case something comes up that is interesting.
Yeah.
Nothing ever does, but
yeah,
I hold out hope. Maybe there.
I guess that's why I'm on Twitter. Nothing's ever good on Twitter. It's always drama, but
always drama.
Well, I thank you for your time, for real. It's been really good.
Oh, heck yeah.
This is almost a 2-hour-long video, and I get to post this on YouTube. Sheesh.
You're gonna have to edit out.
Oh no, I'm posting the whole VOD on there, just in case people want to watch.
Oh, okay.
This is
sure.
I'm going lazy with this one. But I thank you for your time. If you want to talk again another time, we'll do that. If you want to come by my other streams when I'm not talking about serious topics, you can do that as well. I don't know what are your interests, by the way. What do you do in your free time besides, you know, biking and being a vegan? Like
I'm fine. I'm fine chatting a little bit longer. I mean, I'm sure you could probably just cut off the last 10 minutes of this video.
Yeah.
I'll end like I said
soon.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing that before we can talk about this, but like I'm gonna end the recording now. Thank you guys so much for people who have been in chat. Thank you, Logan. I appreciate you. I'm gonna end the recording. You guys have a good one. Please subscribe to my Twitch and my YouTube. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.